Now we've all heard some pretty outrageous claims as far as fuel mileage goes on, diesel powered pickup trucks. And sometimes you hear a lot of people exaggerating the mileage claims. It's almost an ongoing joke about, how good a fuel mileage diesel gets. For some reason I've always liked trying to squeak as much fuel mileage out of my vehicles as I can, and this truck's no exception to that. So we're going to see what we can do to improve it. Start off going over what exactly it is. It's a 1994 two-wheel drive, 3/4 ton single cab long bed with the 5-speed NV 4500 and the old 12 valve Cummins diesel with the Bosch P7100 injection pump on it. Now this truck was made in 1993, so that means it was made before they even had catalytic converters on them. So legally this thing came without a cat. Currently has 307,000 miles on it. The motor was pretty much untouched and the fuel system was all stock when I got it. Now since I've got it, I've done a few mods to the fuel system and stuff on the engine. Of course I've got EGT and boost gauges. I added a Carter P4070 electric pump to act as an auxiliary lift pump. Now this truck has the 354 axle ratio in it, which is the lowest you're going to get. I mean, unless you could find one of the earlier first gens with that like 3.08 or 3.07, I forget. There's like one other axle ratio, but you got to swap in the whole axle housing and everything. So under the hood we've got the stock turbo. It was remanufactured at least once in its lifetime. We've got the big honking air filter on there. After I got the truck, I pulled the front timing cover, took care of the killer dowel pin, and I also advanced the timing to like 15.5 or 16 degrees. I'll have to double check on that. Put in one of those adjustable boost elbows. I can max out around 35 psi now. I put a number 10 fuel plate in there, slid all the way forward, and I slid the AFC the whole way forward. Now one of the biggest things that helped actually cut down on smoke at like part throttle is I got an aftermarket AFC spring. So that really keeps it, this thing doesn't smoke hardly at all unless you really lay into it, whereas before it would it would smoke quite a bit when you just started getting into boost. I spent an absurd amount of time messing with the smoke screw. Everybody says there's a sweet spot you gotta find where there's just enough fuel to light the turbo off pretty quick without any smoke. Man, I don't know how many trips I did around back roads here messing with that thing. I finally found it, and I have not touched it since. I basically don't want to screw with it. And like I said, the exhaust is just straight pipe through. It's almost all 4-inch. I still have a 4-inch downpipe I got to put on the turbo back if I'm ever in there fixing something. The EGT probe is installed pre-turbo. Picked up the tonneau cover for 50 bucks because those are supposed to help with the aerodynamics. Of course, that sticker is good for mileage. And it needed tires as well. So I got these, they're Hercules. I mean, they're not the best tire out there, but they're a pretty good highway tread. They're narrow, load range E, and we went up a little bit on the size so we could get a little bit more, drop the RPMs down. These probably have to have a pretty low rolling resistance as far as you're going to get for a truck tire. Now the stock air dam was missing when I got the truck, so I got another one off Rock Auto and just replaced it with a stock one. Now when I got this truck, it was all stock, and it did not smoke at all. You could not get it to blow any black smoke. Like I said, it was pretty gutless, but the amazing part was the oil was clean, like you'd see on a normal gas engine. Couldn't believe it. I mean, the thing had almost 300,000 on it when I got it, and the oil came out, was looking clean on the dipstick. As soon as I started messing with the fuel system and rolling a little bit of coal, man, the oil turned black pretty much instantly. So check out that awesome wiring. Now I've also been keeping a fuel mileage log as best I can since I've had the truck. There's been a couple of holes in the log, basically from you know, there's been fuel leaks along the way. There's been times where I've got rid of a fuel tank. It had an auxiliary tank. I got rid of that. So I mean, there's a couple of minor gaps, but for the most part, I've kept track of all the fuel that's gone into it and all the miles driven on it. I keep the speedometer and odometer as close and most accurate as we can. Sometimes you're stuck in between a gear tooth, but like at the moment it's within 1.5% of GPS confirmation, so we factor that in as well. Keep buying speedometer gears. Alright, so going after things over the last well, a couple years or so, up through the end of last year, we end up getting, in the end, it comes out to 23.02 total average mileage for this. That's everything. That's just going to work, some highway, a little bit of towing, not a whole lot, but that lines up with pretty consistent to where I'm usually at. 23 seems to be about my working average for when I fill this thing up, just going back and forth to work. So that's the baseline I'm kind of working with as far as the lifetime average of the truck. Now granted, I do drive like a grandpa at times. Usually I drive the close to the speed limit on the highway, which is up to 70 now around here. That definitely it took a little bit of mileage out when they bumped it up from 65 to 70. So it's always a battle between your right foot and the fuel gauge.